Well, this is Dr. Smith. I'm going to continue here with part two. This video I'm making after speaking with CASE, the Council of Administrators for Special Education. And this is about AI in education, but specifically, I wanted to kind of go and dive a little bit deeply into AI for special education. So the first ones I'm just going to kind of go over, and these are prompts and everything else that of how I have used AI at our school site to help us improve student outcomes and just learning overall, and also reducing stress on teachers. That's a big thing. So I had an independent study program when I had created that last prompt about comparing the mathematical frameworks. I was sharing this with our independent study school, Mountain Heights Academy, and I was sharing it with one of the teachers, and I was just so excited about what I had discovered. One of those oh my God moments that she got interested in, and we sat down and I shared with her what I did. She said, "Well, gee, can this work for ELD?" I said, "Well, I'm pretty sure it can work for anything, but let me." So I explained to her what I did in working with an example, and then we got together and we together did a prompt. Now, here's the most important thing: we heard this big myth about AI is replacing teachers. Well, I'm sorry, that's just junk, fake news, whatever you want to call it. Because here's the thing: teachers are the subject matter experts, and as a teacher, as a human being, I know my students and how to communicate with those students much better than AI will ever do. Okay, at this point, it's just not there. Okay, so let's kind of get right into it because otherwise we'll be here for an hour. But I want to kind of keep this short down to like 15, 20 minutes. Okay, so what we did was we got together for an ELD curriculum prompt engineering. So let's kind of go ahead and take a look at that, what that looks like. So what we did, and it's important that you understand how we crafted this. You need to give content. You need to give data. You need to give background information. Make it a picture so it can understand. When you do that, you're able to get much better outputs. So in this case, I said, I'm a high school teacher assigned the duties of writing the curriculum for English language development based on this document, which is the ELD standards. I want to know how I can use ChatGPT to develop ELD curriculum for 4 semesters worth 5 credits each. Let's call them ELD 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B. Can you write out a curriculum outline for each semester to include the 4 domains of writing, listening, speaking, and reading, and break the outline into 5 credits per semester? Also include a project-based learning activity, which includes a rubric. Okay. And then I said, use the, whatever that was a mistake. But we did this. And what did it do? It created the curriculum outline. And what happened when this came out, I gave it to the teacher because she's the ELD expert. She's the subject matter expert. And I said, how does this look? And she looked at it. And guess what? It was an oh my God. In this case, he had the writing, listening, speaking, and reading in an integrated project. And here's the project-based learning activity that they're going to do. And it does the same thing for each one of these semesters for ELD 1B, ELD 2A, ELD 2B. Hey, so AI and like ChatGPT, and if you understand prompt engineering, can help your teachers become more effective, and it can save them time, which as an administrator, take note, it is going to save your organization so much money. Okay, let's go on to another example here. Next thing what I did was I said math not perfect. So in other words, we love math and it's okay to make mistakes, but let's take a look at this example here. In this case, uh, in 2010, when the Common Core standards came out, we're in an alternative education where I have students which are in credit recovery. Very few of our kids are on an A through G curriculum. The vast majority are not. So, and they don't have time to go through and do the whole semester in 90 hours. They're allowed to truncate that to in order to do credit recovery. So as a result, we have to modify our curriculum in order to meet the needs of our students, but still allow them to accomplish and get a high school diploma. So one of the tasks that we had to do back in 2011, the summer 2011, myself and Miss Lee, which is the teacher, us two as the math department, we had to look at the curriculum and do curriculum analysis, for sometimes book adoptions and stuff. But the long story short, it took us 60 hours, both of us, 120 hours to go through and rewrite the curriculum and everything else for our environment for 3 years of math. But the first time we only did math one the first summer, and then we did math two and math three. We integrated it in because it was phased in, and each summer was 60 hours apiece. Let me show you what I did here with learning and understanding that process that we went through. I was able to, when I say math alignment not perfect, what I did was take the current curriculum that we do have, and then I took the current mapping, what my high school is doing, and I said, first, let's do an analysis of that. And I did that. And what it did was actually aligned and actually tells me about each one of those. It actually shows me the focus areas on each one of these things. And then it also looks at the specific standards. It says both of them align, but they address these standards through different scopes and sequences. Then it also gave me discrepancies. What's the discrepancies between them? So how long do you think it would take me to go through the whole syllabus and stuff for Math 1 and go through this other group, which are called essential standards? It'd take me hours. It would take me hours. Okay. ChatGPT did this in less than a minute once I knew what to ask a question. So what it said, discrepancies. It says the HSF math starts, this HS is high school math 1, starts with sequences and moves into functions, while the other course, which is the online course, begins with linear equations and inequalities, then moves into functions and data. So both of them, the California math actually has a broader explanation of everything else, where the HS math is narrowly focused. And the geometric content, well, both of them cover geometry. The HS Math integrates geometry concepts throughout the curriculum, whereas the CA integrates it discretely, especially in semester A. So I was able to get a quick understanding. Then what I wanted to say, all right, please explain to me the different educational objectives, because it told me in this feedback to me, it said the discrepancy suggests that while both courses aim to establish a solid mathematical foundation, they are designed with slightly different educational objectives and pedagogical strategies in mind. Thus, they are not perfectly aligned. That was the first question. They're not perfectly aligned. Okay. So, but then I said, well, all right, I didn't understand that. So I said, please explain it. And what it did, it actually explained it. It explained it concerning the educational objectives. And then it went over the pedagogical strategies. And then it gave me cross-curricular connections between the two and gave me the conclusion. Then I said, all right, are these essential learning standards from the high school math part of the California Integrated Math course? So I'm up here carrying on a conversation with this. And it gives me, here's a recap of the prominent standards for the high school math 1 key standards. And here are the ones for the with the other course. So it gave me a summary. Okay. The long story short, use AI to do comparative analysis to save your teacher's time. Next, IEP Summary. As a general education teacher, I've seen an IEP. I didn't have to write it. I didn't really agree with the goals, but the truth is it doesn't matter, because the IE Summary Action Report and Plan. So with Let's Go Learn, it actually has an IEP summary. And so in this case, this is before I learned how to do that. So this is not the correct student's name. So this is a makeup name, just let you know. And also, anytime when you do have it, you want to go ahead and change your coding and stuff on it. So you need to pull up the PDF file. So this is just a note, just letting you know this is not the actual individual's name, but I actually created this name and generated it. But you want to make sure that you get rid of it. All right, so let's look at it. Here's the goal: math goal and project-based learning. I'm a general education math teacher and I've just received the following IEP summary. Can you review it and focus on the math goal? Can you identify the Common Core standards and develop a project-based learning project, lesson plan, student activity guide, scoring rubric so I can teach, assess, and inspire my students? Please also review and summarize, provide summaries in a specific learning disability and recommend strategies to help this student learn math at its grade level. And it tells me this. Based on this, here's the specific learning disability. It says, all right, has a specific learning disability. It gives him his math goal. It gives me the Common Core standards. And I asked it to give me a project-based learning project for this student. It gives me the activities, the resources, and it also gives me a scoring rubric. And it also gives me recommended strategies for Angel. In other words, to use visual aids, step-by-step instruction, preferential seating, technology use, extra time, and collaboration. Then I said, can you rewrite the project so that it's culturally relevant to him? So they took that task and now they made it into a culturally relevant performance task, which means it's going to be something more connected to him. Again, and then it also gave me a rubric. Then it also gave me the strategies. This is what every general education teacher needs. More importantly, this is what every resource teacher should be sharing with the general education teacher so that we can do this, so we can be in compliance. Let's go on to the next one. So after doing that, I said, okay, let's go ahead and go for utopia. And utopia is that I have an IEP summary, but that basically is almost a pass. See, each one of my students, since we have Let's Go Learn, 100% of my students go through a diagnostic testing, so I know exactly where they're at. So the IEP summary gives you a snapshot, but that's kind of a snapshot of something that necessarily is the past. Okay, but I want to know where is he at now? Because he's coming to me as an 11th grader, and I need him at 11th grade standards to at least get exposed to it before he gets to the state test. So, but how do I do that? So this is where precision data and data-driven insight is. And how do you use AI to get this done? And the end result is that do you provide something in a platform where the student's going to get engaged in learning? Did you hear me now? The end result is that we want the student to be engaged in learning. So let's take a look. What I did was very simple. I took an IEP. In this case, I'm showing you how to do this. If you are able to produce it, Let's Go Learn. I know that with Richard, they're actually taking their diagnostics reports and they're going to change the format so it does not identify who the student is. So it's going to change it to some code, but it's going to be done by the computer, so you won't have to do it. Because virtually what I have to do is take it, the report, download the report, put it back in Adobe Acrobat Reader, edit it, remove that information, put it back in a PDF file so I can upload it like this. Okay, so Let's Go Learn is one company is going to take their reports and stuff and allow it to be hit a button and to be able to do it. And they're actually working on the other part to be able to hit a button to do what I'm getting ready to show you what I did. Okay, so I took their IEP and then I took their diagnostics results and I uploaded and I said conduct the comparative analysis between the two uploaded. And I told them what the first one was, the individual education plan. And I told them what the next one was, his diagnostics. And what it did, it gave me a comparative analysis. And this is what it showed me. Okay. Right here, it told me what the math goal is. And it said, here's the diagnostic results. This is what he did. So it shares with me what he needs improvements on, what he can do, what he can't do. It also here's the IEP document on the testing accommodations. The diagnostics results do not specify accommodations but highlight the student's current proficiency in areas needing improvement. Here's the observations, areas of concern. Results highlight the need for improvement in division operations, accommodations. Then it also gave me recommendations. Okay. On specifically, this is personalized learning and this is data-driven insight. Okay. So next I said, all right, how about preparing me a lesson plan, a quiz, a student activity guide, a project-based learning activity, and a grading rubric for goal 3? this is what the IEP says that I've been doing, that I've supposed to have been doing, that every general education teacher should not be able to sleep at night if they realize that they signed an IEP saying that they were responsible for an assessment that they didn't do. Okay, so I asked it to do it, and guess what it did? It came up with quadratic. Why? Because his goal says by the end of this lesson, student will be able to solve the quadratic in one variable using various methods with 70% accuracy. Where did they get the 70% accuracy from? The 70% accuracy came from his goal out of his IEP. Using notes in the calculator, student will independently solve quadratic equations in one variable with 70% accuracy. And guess what the project is going to do? 70% accuracy. It gives the materials, and here's a lesson plan. In other words, the student needs to have a lesson. So this is for me as the teacher, for me to teach him. In order to understand the quadratic equation, I give him an overview, but it also gives me direct instruction. I need to teach him factoring, completing the square, and quadratics. Now, most of my students that come in as 11th graders in special ed, they've never seen the quadratic equation. They have no idea what that is, that concept. And you start going and teaching them right off the bat, you're going to totally lose them because you're not going to be engaged. But the lesson plan goes with direct instruction and then guided practice to help them do these things, and then independent practice and enclosure. The bottom line, it gave me a lesson plan. Okay. Then it also gives me a quiz that I can give the student because they need to get 75% correct on the quiz, which means he needs to get 3 out of 4 of these answers correctly. Okay. Here's the student activity. And the student activity kind of goes over different things about helping them to deepen their understanding on the quadratics. All 3, factoring, completing the square, and quadratic. Then it actually gave me a project-based learning activity. Quadratic equations in real life. This is the engagement part. In here, it says we're going to talk about the design a parabolic arch. And I asked the student about this, and they had no idea what this was because I took this student and this report, and I assigned him this project before doing the lesson. And I tell you why. Because this here is an engaging activity. It's engaging, and it also has a rubric. So once I did that, I also can ask this other question. I said, can you provide me YouTube video links to go along with the lesson plan? And it took the lesson plan and it gave me links. Now, not all of these videos may or may not be correct. So you have to check them out or go ahead on YouTube and put those in. Do you think that'd be helpful for students which are in special education to have a video that shows them how to do that? I would think so. Okay. So they can always rely back to it when after you teach a lesson, they didn't get it. They can have other resources where they can go to it. Okay. That is how I used it. So now what all did we get out of this? So for this student, they didn't know what a parabolic arch was. But after going through and getting on the internet, my student came up with the St. Louis arch, which is a parabolic arch. And then we asked the question, how tall is it? And how wide is it? And this launched an investigation that was so engaging to this student. That student then learned, we actually drew it out. And we went through in the lesson to compare it that this was the vertex. And we know that these intersecting lines are the intercepts, or the x-intercepts. In his project, he has to draw this out like this for his arch or his example, and to come up with an equation, the quadratic equation for this. This is Algebra 2 and higher. So this is all about implementing an AI training program. And the success is that we have to include an infrastructure setup. You're going to need professional development, and you're going to need continuous evaluation to go back over this process because AI is changing. I had actually showed earlier in the main presentation about the transition in the time periods from GPT-1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we actually have 4.0 just came out here. Okay. Next thing, we need to be able to maximize the benefits of AI. So we're going to require robust digital infrastructure. You're going to need to be making sure that you're hooked up with a company that's very simple, like the LGL, which is on the forefront of merging and integrating artificial intelligence with their platforms to make it more useful to you. Okay. Um, here, you're going to have fun. The whole purpose now that we're going to try to do is that I'm going to create a workshop, and this video here is going to be part of it. It's going to be a free workshop, but it's going to go over about prompt engineering and how to do some of this stuff for the teachers because they need hands-on. So I can get feedback from them, and also the main purpose is to get feedback so we can create a course that's going to be able to be on demand for your teachers because of turnover coming in and out. That when they come in, you can make sure that every one of your teachers, general education and special education, become AI for educator experts. With that, this is Dr. Smith. I hope this has been very useful and enlightening to you. It sure has for me. And when I get done with this video, I'm going to go and do some more AI prompt engineering. This is Dr. Smith. Thank you for taking your time to listen. If you have any comments, go ahead and put comments below. I'm probably going to put these up on YouTube, or either just shoot me a little email out. That's the same thing. This is Dr. Smith, and thank you again.